holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. Yellow flags like warning signs, but I ain't falling for their lines. Got nerves of steel, a shaky hand. This ain't a game, it's fight or land. Saw that 18 catch the wall, 21 spun, took out them all. But somehow I found the lane, like Moses through that fire and rain. Yeah, I thread the needle, dodge the flame, every pile up calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. No checkered flag, no champagne rain, but I kept it clean through the carnage and pain. One more lap, one more breath, a dance with danger, a race with death. Still I thread the needle, feel the flame. Every turn's a twist of fate's game. Wrecks behind first place, but man, I ride with fire still burning inside. Yeah, I thread the needle in this wild racing ride. Strapped in tight, green lights flashing, rubbers burning, hearts are clashing, tires screaming that southern heat, 200 strong on the NASCAR beat. Lap 5 wreck on turn 4, smoke so thick can't see the door, but somehow I slip right through like a ghost in red, white, and blue. 'Cause I thread the needle, dodge the flame, every pile up calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side. Yellow flags like warning signs, but I ain't falling for their lines. Got nerves of steel, a shaky hand. This ain't a game, it's fight or land. Saw that 18 catch the wall, 21 spun, took out them all. But somehow I found the lane, like Moses through that fire and rain. Yeah, I thread the needle, dodge the flame, every pile up calling my name. Wrecks behind me, wrecks ahead, but I ain't wrecked, I ain't dead. Sliding sideways, holding tight, praying hard through every fight. Got no wins, but I got pride. Made it through the other side.
Welcome in, race fans, to the third round of the playoffs here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series. I'm going to be your host tonight, Brandon Massey, and alongside me up in the booth is going to be the one and only Russell Martin Jr. Russ, how we feeling tonight?
Well, man, it's round 3 here, and things got interesting there last week in this whole playoff points battle shakeup. So I'm interested to see how these guys are going to do it tonight. We got a little bit of a small field here tonight, so points are going to be critical tonight.
Yeah, and it's going to be tough to find those points because when we take a look at the points battle right now, first and fourth is only separated by a mere 10 points. You've got Christopher Bendale out front. Curtis Ecker, with a big win last week, Russ, was able to jump 4 spots and move into second place.
Yeah, only 3 points behind right now, and the top 4 or 5, only being separated by about 10 points apiece there. I mean, it's like I said, points are going to be critical, and when you get to these playoffs and drivers tend to start falling off and stop showing up, it makes every single point that you can make even that much more important for these championships.
Yeah, and if you're guys like Andrew Teft and Truth Hoke and some of the guys that had a little bit of troubles on pit road last week, if you're those guys and you're the outside looking in right now, even for Andrew to find 10 points, especially in a race like tonight, going into Pocono next week, might be tough to do.
Absolutely. I mean, right now, if we get a field like this, for tonight and next week, I really think this probably would be only maybe a 4-car battle for this championship. I feel like even 5th place there, Alex Gates, being 14 points out, I think is just going to be too many points to make up, over the course of tonight and next week. So, it's one of those things where now it's really crucial to make sure you have a good finish. Even pick up a win here if you can, because you do get a couple of extra bonus points for winning races. So right now, moving forward tonight and tomorrow, every single point matters.
Every single point is going to matter, because tonight we're going to log 80 laps here under the lights at Auto Club, and then next week, Russ, we're going to be celebrating a champion, and we're going to be doing that at Pocono. And when I look at tonight and then I look at Pocono, I don't foresee these drivers getting too far spread out here tonight. I think that with the cooler track temps that we talked about during pre-race, before we started the show tonight, just kind of me and you chatting, the cooler track temps I think is going to provide a lot of grip, and we're going to see a lot of pack racing.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, under qualifying, we're only sitting at like a 72-degree track temp, so nice and cool nighttime conditions. Grip will definitely not be a problem here tonight, so hopefully that leads to some really good battles. And the only thing is, we stretch this thing out over the course, of green flag pit stops. We're probably going to have 2 of those tonight, looking like about 29 to 30 laps to a fuel run. So, that's the only spot where this thing could possibly get stretched out, is with those green flag pit stops. You guys have, or if you have guys that have problems, anything like that on pit road, you could definitely string this field out and make passing and gaining points and positions even that much harder.
You're right. And that's going to be the worst case scenario for some of these guys, right? Like when you look, Andrew Teft, 10 points out, last year's season champion, trying to repeat here in the Next Gen Cup Series. If this field does get spread out, he's going to want to hope that he's somewhat towards the front of that to try to make up some points, at least as many as he can with the 3 drivers in front of him, drivers like Pendel, Ecker, so it's going to be difficult. We're going to have to keep our eye on how a lot of this shakes out. It looks like to me we got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cars has signed in. So points, I think, is going to be far and few between over the next couple of nights.
Yeah, that's definitely the way it's looking. And another little wrench that it throws into the mix is, with the few points that are available for these guys in this championship, it could definitely throw pit strategy into it too. So, if this thing gets stretched out and it comes down to that second pit stop, probably around lap 60 to 62 or so, you're going to have just right around a 20 or just under lap run to the finish. Do you take 2 tires on that second stop to try to gain a little bit of extra track position to put you around some other drivers you could pass to gain points? It's just something we're going to have to see if anybody's willing to pull that little that cat out of the bag tonight. So, going to be interesting, going to be fun. See what happens.
Yeah, and I Andrew right now he's not 100% completely out of this thing, right? Because if he wins, I believe he'll get bonus points for that, and if he was able to win next week at Pocono, he would also get bonus points there, and so that would tighten up the points battle within the front 3. But I think if you're any further than probably 10, 12, 14 points, I think it's going to be difficult. I don't want to say that those drivers are eliminated, because we do have 80 laps here tonight, and then we have an entire race at Pocono next week. But I do think, though, you're going to have to win, right? Like, I think if you're going to position yourself with at least giving you a chance to win a championship here on Thursday night in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series, you're gonna have to find victory lane.
Yeah, especially if you're, like we said, more than 10 points out of it. Those bonus points will go a long way in helping you try to gain some points and gain some spots. But at the same time, and you kind of hate to say it, but you're kind of hoping for some of those guys up top, like Chris Pendel, Curtis Ecker. You're kind of hoping for them guys to maybe have a little bit of problems, so that you're able to maximize the amount of points that you're gaining on them. So it's definitely not out of the realm yet for Alec or for Andrew. But again, outside of Andrew, there 10 points back, you're going to need a little bit of help.
Yeah, and help is what a lot of those guys are going to need, because that is going to be quite the deficit to make up. And so looking at Auto Club, though, we only get the sheer memory of being able to watch racing here at Auto Club, because that track has since been torn out in California, and it is no longer a facility. And this was actually one of the most funner races to watch in its prime. There was really good racing here. It was multi-groove. You could run just about anywhere, and slide jobs was crazy. What kind of racing do you expect to see tonight with these cooler track temps and then the, say, 12 cars that we have signed in here?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I always enjoyed Auto Club. I always thought, I thought it provided some really good racing. I mean, it's not unusual, to be able to see, 4 or even 5 wide racing around this track. So the fact that this track no longer exists in real life, it really does suck. But, fortunately, we have this platform called iRacing where, we can still continue to enjoy this track virtually. And, it's just a great thing to have. But, tonight, I mean, like I said, these guys they're fighting for a championship. So, I mean, I'm expecting some good battles. Maybe at the start of the run, tire management I think is going to come into play again, almost like always. Wrapping that bottom, trying to save some tire, but I think you could definitely get those runs off the corner from the middle groove up. So that's also a definite possibility. But like I said, I think the green flag pit stops, if we get those, I think are really going to be the kind of the defining factor, because this track has been notorious for being difficult to pass on as the laps go on, and the field slowly starts to get spread out, single file, whatever. But I think these pit stops are going to be the main priority here tonight. So looking forward to it. Hopefully we get some good racing as this thing gets underway, and see how the whole thing plays out.
Yeah, we'll see how everything shakes out. But the one thing that I'm taking a look at, and I'm looking at qualifying times, Russ, and right now you might as well say first through fifth is only separated by a mere 10th. And so those guys are all over top of each other. And then it separates a little bit more. You got about 2/10 with Gates and Hoke right there. And then Alex and Kane didn't look like they laid down any laps. Maybe they did. Yeah, so they did. So that'll end qualifying. That means that these drivers are going to start the grid up, and we're going to be able to get this 80-lap showdown underway here under the lights. And I tell you, it's time to make your race pick. We're going to do it early, Russ. We're going to do it early tonight. Who you liking?
Well, I kind of been, I've watched the guy throughout the season, and I know that these kind of tracks here kind of suit his driving style a little bit better than most tracks. And right now, I mean, he's currently sitting P2 on the board. I think I'm going to take Christopher Pendel there in that 94. I've seen him run these types of tracks before, be pretty successful, and I think he's going to get the job here done, or the job done here tonight.
I like that pick. Our current points leader. That's a solid pick. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to go with, Russ. I'm going to take Wayne Scott here from the front row. Kirby's due. I like watching him run. He runs consistently around the front, and he qualifies well. And I think that tonight he's able to put a complete race together, and he will find victory lane. Yeah,
I mean, Kirby's definitely a solid pick. I mean, he's definitely shown a lot of speed here in the last couple of weeks and proven that he could be up front and running up there. So not a bad pick at all. And, you picked up the win there last week with Curtis. So see if you can go back-to-back here tonight at Auto Club.
Yeah, I ain't going to lie. It was kind of hard not to take my 8 car again. I ain't going to lie. So for the Ecker fans out there, I apologize. It's hard not to take the 8 car. He found victory lane last week when we was able to pick with that little bit of a late start. But I tell you what, though, I'm excited for tonight because I really think that we're going to be able to see some multi-groove racing. I think that with the cooler track temperatures, these cars are going to be able to move around. But one thing that a lot of these drivers talked about last week, Russ, was being able to roll the bottom and save tire.
Yeah, that's one of the big things. It just seems like with iRacing, I mean, it's gotten a little bit better since this last update, where being able to run the multiple grooves has kind of, I guess, improved. But it just seems like it tracks like these, like your Auto Club, your Michigan, they're semi draft that you're still looking for. The bottom line still seems to really be the preferred line when it comes to tire saving. So, I mean, it's definitely the line I would be running if I were here. But like I said, the middle to upper groove still definitely a possibility for making passes around here. Yeah, and it does take a little bit of a special art to run the bottom here, just to be able to enter the car, roll the center, and exit with momentum both ends of the racetrack. It does take a little bit of an art to do that, but one that I've not mastered. We ran a truck race here in a Racers Elite. It was a free event that Teft and company put on board. And I finished second behind Andrew, but Andrew just absolutely dominated the thing, and he did it by rolling the bottom. So I don't suspect we'll see much different from that tonight, Russ, to be honest. Yeah, like I said, neither do I. Like I said, the bottom is usually that dominant line everybody likes to run and save those tires with, but we're coming to the green flag here, and we're getting this 80-lap race underway. And we are underway for 80 laps here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series on Thursday night. Round 3 of the playoffs, Russ, and here we go. Wayne Scott, Pendel, Smith right there. That's another driver you can't count out is Kinsley Smith. Yeah, definitely not. He's usually always a threat there when he comes out onto the track, but you see Wayne Scott and Pendel, they're battling it really hard. Now we're going 3 wide back here. Andrew Teff looking down to the bottom, going 3 wide for P2. He is looking 3 wide for P2. What a bold move that was. And you can see these race cars are spread out right now. There's the shot from above. You can see Wayne Scott, Pendel, Smith, Teff with Ecker just lined up behind him. You got Gates, Hoke all in the same shot. This is going to be an interesting race, Russ, I can tell you. Yeah, like I said, these first few laps are where you can gain the most, and once this thing stretches out, trying to make passes tends to be a little bit rough here, but not a bad battle here to start it out. Now we see Pendel looking to the inside of Kinsley Smith with that crossover after Kinsley got the pass done. Yeah, so Kinsley gets the pass done. Now you see Pendel move to the bottom. You see Gates at top. F probably saving some tire, has fell back to 5th. Ecker's just right there. I can tell you, I don't know if I like the move of being on the top this early and using a lot of my tires up for us, but right now Wayne Scott's making it happen as they're 3 wide. Yeah, he's running there on the outside. 3 wide battle for the lead here. Kinsley Smith looking through the middle. 3 wide battle for the lead. You got Alex Gase now going to be pushing the 77, in the 77, pushing Wayne Scott right there. Smith, a little bit of a side draft on him. Ecker has since gone around Andrew Taft. He's found himself inside the top 5. Ecker moving his way up. That 77 kind of coming up there. I mean, he had a kind of a mid-pack start there to this race today, but working his way up there, running that outside. Now he's closing in on the back bumper of the 10 car. He is starting to close in on the back bumper. He's there. He's all but got a shot. And right now, he's going to lose a little bit of track position. But don't look now. Here comes the 8 and the 94, Pendel. Wide for P3 back here. Ecker trying to come up the middle, trying to make it work. Just seems like the 94 is kind of struggling down there on the bottom a little bit right now. He can get side by side, but then he just kind of falls off a little bit on the exit.
does fall off just a little bit. Now move the 8 car and Ecker up to 4th. He sees the 77. He sees Smith. He sees Wayne Scott. They're all right there together. Again, draft dependent is these cars, especially around this 2-miler.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, normally you don't think of tracks outside of Daytona, Talladega, being kind of draft dependent, but this is definitely one of those tracks where, there is a little bit of a dependency on that draft, and you lose the draft, you can fall back and lose the pack rather quickly.
You can lose the pack rather quickly. I'm afraid that might be what has happened to a couple of these drivers. You can see these two right here. They're back here by their lonesome, but the battle up front still rages on. You've got, say, 1, 2, 3, 4 cars all within about 3/10 of each other.
Yeah, Kinsley Smith diving it down there to the bottom, trying to pull off a slide job here, not able to quite get clear enough to work his way up in front. Now it looks like he might be able to clear the 10. Not quite, as they're going to drag race side by side down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and he's going to get a little bit of help from Alex Gates there in the 77. He'll actually be able to push Smith out towards the front. Smith will clear this time, should be able to lead this lap. Now this tells me that those tires maybe on the 10 car are starting to wear just about 6 laps in, but the bottom is starting to gain some momentum.
Yeah, not really sure what the tire wear is looking like for around here being up there on the top side, but like I said earlier, a lot of guys choose to run the bottom. I mean, we see Kinsley Smith now, he was running the bottom. Now he's kind of moved up to run that outside line. So not really sure what the tire wear is looking like from that top side, but yeah, the 10 car falling off just a little bit here.
Just a little bit as Alex Gates is able to get around Wayne Scott. Will it not be for second? Andrew Teff taking a look towards the bottom. He's going to be looking on the inside of the 8. Is he going to be able to hold? He's actually going to pull even. Is he going to clear? No, he will not, but he'll be able to hold even. Will Teft, he's bringing Christopher Pendel with him. That battle's going to rage on as they enter turn 1.
Yeah, Pendel up there on that high side gets right back into the mix here. Kind of running the middle. I mean, that's another thing we're going to have to kind of watch with these guys. I mean, with this type of a track too, you've got that dirty air factor, and I kind of expected Pendel to work right there with Curtis Ecker on that high side, but you kind of see him move down and run the middle right there. Just wants some clean air on that nose.
Yeah, you got to have the clean air, right, to help the car rotate. Tev trying to get to the quarter panels, not going to be able to. He's going to have to fall right back in line right there. So right now, this race has started to single file out. So what a hectic, very fun and chaotic 8-lap start as these drivers are now 3 wide. You've got Wayne Scott, Ecker, and Tev 3 wide.
Yeah, 3 wide battle here coming off of 2 down the backstretch. They're still holding strong. Looks like the 8's going to tuck back in up under Kirby there. Andrew still running the bottom.
Andrew still looking on the bottom. They're still going to be trying to peak 3 wide is these drivers right here. You can see there goes Wayne Scott. Ecker is looking to clear. Now he's going to try to get a little bit of a run off of the front bumper of the 98. I don't know that he's going to quite get it. I can tell you, Russ, the exit of the top just generates such momentum down these long straightaways here at Auto Club.
Yeah, I mean, going on corner entry, you can really sail it in there on the bottom, but you get those such really strong runs on corner exit being up there on that high side that you're able to just maintain that position. But right now it looked like Curtis finally got this pass done. But what it has done, all that side-by-side battling back there for P3 has kind of allowed Kinsley Smith and Alex Gates to check out just a little bit, up by about a half a second now over third.
They have, and I tell you, Andrew Teff just got a heck of a run through 3 and 4. He was able to clear Wayne Scott right there, and he started looking to the inside of Ecker, but what a run he had on the bottom in 3 and 4. Don't know if he's going to get the same run through 1 and 2. In fact, he's going to be able to hold him even, but that run off the top should clear.
Yeah, the 8 was able to clear the 98 of Teft right there, and trying to hold strong. Like I said, the bottom will save your tire, but I think the speed is up there on that top, and I think that's why the guys are up there running there. But like I said, I'm not sure what the tire wear looks like. I mean, it might be a viable option over the course of a fuel run here. I mean, we know, like I said, fuel run going to be about 29, 30 laps. We're almost halfway through our first fuel run here, so I mean, maybe the reward is greater than the risk by running up there on the high side here tonight.
It very well could be, because right now you can see at least the front 5 is around the top. Alex Gates has still been on the back bumper by about mere 2/10, call it 2 car lengths off the back of the 15. And I tell you, when it comes to a racetrack like this, it fits Kinsley Smith really well.
Yeah, I mean, other than the super speedways, which we know Kinsley's really strong at. These types of tracks do suit him very well. I mean, he can get himself into a nice groove and just kind of settle in, but he can't settle in right now. The 77 is going to sail it off into turn 1 right there. Going to try to pull the slide job and move himself up into the P1.
Yeah, he was actually clear, and he thought twice, but then actually was able to jump up in front of the 15. What a move made by Alex Gates to get himself out front. Now you want to get back to the start-finish line, and you want to lead that lap. I don't know if there's bonus points for it, but if there is, you definitely want to go and try and lead it. Kinsley's trying to fight back on the inside.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is one bonus point out there for leading the lap, so looks like 77, Alex Gates going to pick that up. I mean, right now, he's, I believe he is P5 in the points right now, 14 points out. So, again, definitely needing those bonus points for leading the lap. Was able to get it done right there.
He was able to get it done. Now, Ecker looking to the inside of the 15 was not able to generate anything there. So, the last week's race winner's currently up the 3rd. He took a peek, not able to do anything with it. But right now, Alex Gates, Smith, Ecker, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, Ecker having a pretty good run here. I mean, started, I think, back there in the 3rd row, right around P5. So able to work his way up there and running P3 right now, having a pretty solid run.
He is having a pretty solid run. Is last week's race winner in that 8 car. I want to take a peek because Andrew Teft is still working that bottom, still trying to get something generated. And it's just hard to do when you have no help down there to help generate any type of runoff exit.
Yeah, I mean, being the lone dog down there, it doesn't really give you any kind of a draft that you could pull off of. But again, he's saving a little bit of tire here by running that bottom. So maybe by the end of this fuel run, he's going to have a little bit better tire than what these guys in front of him are. And we might see him start working his way forward and making some passes.
Yeah, on a fuel run, we're expected to see about 35 to 40 laps, give or take. You touched on that in pre-race. Ecker looked again to the inside of the 15, was not able to generate anything through the front straightaway. You could see
so these guys have kind of.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say they kind of singled out here, but the field's kind of caught back up. I mean, we keep seeing Kinsley try to look to the inside there of the 77, but this has kind of brought the entire field kind of right back to those leaders who did have about a half-second lead over 3rd.
Yeah, so that happens, right, with this car. We've seen it a lot throughout the season, is when these cars run a racetrack like that is so draft dependent, you get a couple cars lined up and you feed off the draft in front of you. Man, you can really close the gap and do it quickly. Ecker now... So Smith moves to the inside to make a move on Alex, was not able to do anything, and Ecker runs the outside and is able to take over 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that outside gets such good runs off that corner, on that corner exit. Now Ecker going to peek to the inside of the 77 here. Going to be a bold shot if he can get it done here. I mean, we haven't really seen too many passes being made from the inside, but going to have a drag race down here into turn 1 for the 77 and the 8.
That's actually one of the better runs off the corner that we've seen for someone running the middle to the lower line. In fact, Ecker's going to stay right there again. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the job done, but he might be able to hold his quarter panel, side draft, and set up something for 3 and 4.
Yeah, I mean, being, not really being on the bottom, kind of being in that middle lane, it's still giving him it's giving him more momentum on corner exit than what running the bottom will. So you're going to be able to keep that number 8 car right there on the side of the 77, like you said. Maybe do a little bit of side draft, pull him back just a little bit, able to keep them side by side as they come across the line.
Yeah, and one thing I think is helping that 8 car, now Smith is going to repay the favor to Ecker and going to make that move on the outside. But one thing that Ecker had going for him was the 98. He's been running that lower line, as you can see. He's on the very bottom of the racetrack trying. That could have gotten close. Now he's actually going to fall back in line.
I thought he was going to squeeze his way up there and going to have a little bit of a problem there, but able to get back in. But yeah, I mean, like I said, right now, You know, the 98 still wrapping that bottom. I mean, again, he's going to have just a little bit better tires than what these guys who are riding the rim of the top there. So I mean, now we see the 98 starting to creep his way back into this battle for the for a top 3 spot here.
So the battle for the lead still rages on. I mean, you have so the entire, say, top 8 drivers right now, all the way back here to Truth Hoke and Alex Teft, they're all separated by just a little over a second, right? I mean, Hoke and Alex Teft they can just ride back here. They have the draft. They don't have to do anything special. Let these guys race, wear their stuff out, and within the next 15 laps, start to position yourself, you know, with track position.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, plus being back there, you know, being in that, you know, in the wake draft there, that 94, you're saving a little bit of fuel too. So, I mean, once we have to go and start making these green flag pit stops, you know, somebody like Truth Hoke, who definitely needs all the points he can get, you know, he might be able to stay out a lap later, get himself a lap led, and get himself that little bit of a bonus point there.
So you can see, I mean, there's the entire field together in that shot. You got Christopher Pendell just looking to try to make a move on Wayne Scott. Wayne Scott started from the front, led a few laps, and it just kind of fell off a little bit for him. Pendell not able to generate any type of run there. Andrew was looking on Ecker again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if anybody's trying to do like a little, you know, tire saving. But I mean, I'm really surprised that the 94 hasn't worked his way up there to the front right now or yet. And it's kind of falling back still a little bit right now. We see Truth Hoke working to the outside. He's going to try to bring Alex Teft with him. So going to lose another 2 spots here for the 94.
He is going to lose a couple of spots. You can see Wayne Scott move to the bottom there with Teft. That was a big bobble out of Wayne Scott. I don't know. Oh, he's coming to pit road. It seems early.
I think, yeah, I mean, of course, now, you know, we also see Dennis Kane back there. He's coming down pit road. I mean, I was expecting 29, 30 laps, but maybe being out in the front, maybe Kirby's kind of getting a little bit of a super speedway treatment and didn't quite get as good a fuel mileage as what some of these other guys are. Or maybe he's short pitting here, playing a little bit of strategy towards the end of this race.
Well, we know if you was to run the full 30, say 30 laps, right, that it would be a short run to the end. And so short pitting here would put, you could run 30 to 50 and you could make it to the end. So he might be trying to flip the strategy here. Might not. We'll see how that strategy call plays out, but he did go a lap down there.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, he might be, you know, short pitting early and trying to go a long run for that final stretch. You know, like I said, I mean, this is the playoffs, and sometimes you just gotta kind of try to do something a little bit different than what you're expecting everybody else to do, and that very well could be what Kirby was trying to do right there.
So right now, Alex Gates has actually put a little bit of distance between him and Kinsley Smith out front. That distance is about, call it 3 car lengths, give or take, call it 2. And then Ecker and Teft. Ecker hard into the wall right there, though. That might actually scrub some speed for him. Teft might be able to generate something. He's not. Here comes Hoke and Alex Teft, though. They're starting to get into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, running back there, like I said, you know, maybe saving a little bit of fuel, saving a little bit of tire, and now, you know, these the laps of this first little fuel run are winding off. Now we're starting to see just a little bit of speed building on that 55 car.
As you can see that run right there, Teft on the inside. There comes Hoke. There comes his brother. He's actually going to go up, try to shut that run down. In fact, he will. So that battle is still going to rage on, but all these leaders right here are all in the same shot, and they're all racing hard.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, things kind of, you know, smooth themselves out there a little bit. We saw some kind of just single file running for a little bit of time being. Now we see the 98 getting right back up there, but I mean, now we're starting to see them spread out just a little bit more. And, you know, that's one of the things you could do here. You know, when you don't have quite that big of a field is, you know, you really don't have to push it super, super early because you figure, you know, right now, unfortunately, we've already got 2 guys who have decided to make an early exit here tonight. So we've only got 10 drivers left out here on the track. And right here, we've got 7 of those 10 in this one little clip here. And so I mean, you really don't have to push it too hard because those positions are still going to be right in your grasp as long as you stay in the draft.
Yeah, so 7 of these drivers right here together. Smith moving to the bottom to try to figure out if he can generate something there. He's actually moved to the bottom because he's coming to pit road. So even then, that still might be a little bit early, Russ.
That could be. I mean, maybe a lap earlier than what we were thinking. Like I said, 29 to 30. This is lap 28. Maybe a lap early. May not be the worst thing.
May not be, because in fact, with that, he may be able to, jump a couple of these drivers. But I tell you, a couple of drivers on the move, though. Truth Oak and Alex Teft.
Yeah, kind of just riding around there in the back for the first portion of this first fuel run. Now they're driving their way up there on that outside, working their way up to 3rd and 4th. But now we see Curtis Eckert dipping down pit road. So green flag pit stop's definitely underway now. And now that 55-43 find themselves 2nd and 3rd.
Yeah, they do. And that tells us that the green flag cycle is open. You can see there come Kinsley Smith right there. Now we know Wayne Scott has already been on the racetrack. So we'll see where actually. So there comes Wayne Scott. And then just up in front of him should be Kinsley Smith by not too much. In fact, there he comes. He's now blending. So Wayne Scott might be able to actually get to the back bumper of Smith here. Those drivers might be able to work together. Alex Gates still holding out front. Alex Teft moving to the front. He's going to try to take a peek for 2nd. Plumb down to the apron is Alex Teft.
Running down there where nobody's ran yet today and trying to sneak underneath True Oath there.
So he's going to roll the bottom. He's going to see if he can't. Wow.
Clear with the crossover.
Wow, what a move there, Russ. And I tell you, it was almost like the 55 kind of parked it in the middle of the corner. It allowed the 43 to just cross over. But then here come Hoke with a crossover on him. Looks like Gates, Hoke, Pendell, they're all going to be coming to pit road, it looks like, this time.
Yeah, Hoke coming in a little bit hot. Hopefully he's going to be able to make this. Looks like he's going to get himself down there. But, yeah, I mean, it was almost like he was anticipating that 43 slide job. So he just kind of parked it in the middle of the corner, set that thing to the left, and did the little crossover. But
so a little bit of brotherly love here with Andrew and Alex, right? So if you're these two guys, you got to come this time. You don't want to lose a lot of time out on the racetrack. If the tire fall off has not been that much, and right now the best lap for both Alex and Andrew has been 39.5s, 39.4s. The last time buys, they were only a half second off of that. So the tire's not really falling off all that much.
Yeah, see Andrew there dipping down. Alex choosing to stay out for another lap. I'm sure he'll probably come down this time around. But we know these guys, those two guys right there all season long. The brothers. But man, they all each of them want to do is beat each other out there on the track. So, if it comes down to them two battling for this win come the end of the race, it could get really interesting between the two of them. Neither one of them want to lose to the other.
Yeah, I tell you, that would be a lot of fun. I've got a chance to race with my brother just a little bit. And in fact, he's had some life-changing things happen. And he's bought into a business, and now he's going to have to sell his sim stuff because he's going to be moving to a completely different state. But when I've had the opportunity to race with him on the racetrack, it's always been a lot of fun. And when you get a race with family like that, and it brings that much more competition to it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know from personal experience. I don't have anybody else in my family that runs on here, but I've tried to talk my dad into joining and getting into it, but I don't know how long he would last because he wouldn't like getting his pants beat off of him by his own son on the track. So
totally fair. But I can tell you, all this green flag stops, 32 laps down, now working 33. This has allowed Kinsley Smith to take over the lead and by about 2 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, he had a really good pit stop there. Got himself about a 2-second gap now over Andrew back here I mean, I'm really surprised that we're able to see these guys still running together, the 98, the 10, and the 8, because like I said, these green flag pit stops can really stretch a field out, and once it does, man, it becomes a really difficult race to run when you're just kind of find yourself running by yourself, because the gap with these smaller fields just increases with every pit stop.
It does. And when I take a look at the entire pit time, right? So from entry, exit, etc. When I look at it, your top three drivers, Smith, Teft, and Wayne Scott, all was under, well, Teft was the only one under 49 seconds. Andrew was actually only on for 48.23 seconds. That was actually a second quicker than Kinsley Smith. It was a second and a quarter quicker than Wayne Scott, but the rest of those guys, Ecker, Gates, all 52 seconds plus down pit road.
Makes me wonder what kind of a call Andrew made there out pit road. Maybe just taking a little bit less fuel than what everybody else did. But I mean, I'm assuming everybody would have taken 4 tires on that stop. But he definitely had a blistering pit stop time. But Kinsley Smith, he had to have had a really good one too, because he's got himself. I mean, although now we're seeing the 98 starting to chew into that lead that Kinsley had. Now that 2-second lead is down to about 1.2 seconds.
Yeah, I was actually getting ready to bring that up, and I'm glad that you did, because right now, Andrew Teft, with those fresher tires, and we're going to call it about 5-lap fresher tires, does Andrew have over Kinsley. He's actually able to put a little bit of distance between himself and Ecker, but he is starting to slowly reel in that 15 car.
Yeah, right here. I mean, this is where we're going to see where the fresher tires really come into play, like you said. I mean, Kinsley pitting, 4 or 5 laps before what Andrew did. Now we're really going to start to see what the difference in about 4 or 5 lap fresher tires is going to make. Now that lead down about another tenth, about 1.1.
So now we're under almost. He's got it within just about a second, and I want to see where Smith chooses to run here, Russ, because he might still be running that top. In fact, he's going to run. Nope, he's going to arc it to the bottom. So is Andrew. So yeah, so they've both moved to the bottom. The rest of these guys are still working the top. You got Ecker, Wayne Scott, Pendel, Gates, all right there together, and then what was once race leader and Alex Teft and Truth Hope, they're kind of a little bit separated. They need to find each other to try to reel in this other pack to reel in the leaders.
Yeah, they need to get themselves together and work together to get back up into this draft, because right now they're kind of falling off. They're about maybe just under 3 seconds outside this front pack here, but they got to do something to get themselves back up there. But I mean, we're starting to see the 98. It looks like maybe kind of equalize out just a little bit. Now we see the 8 and the 10 starting to battle for that P3. But I mean, Andrew's still slowly coming and gaining on Kinsley Smith, just under, call it 9/10 of a second now.
Yeah, so there's about 0.07 of a second difference between lap times right now. So the last lap by was a 39.80 for your race leader, and it was a 39.73. So just shy of a tenth. In fact, that was a substantially different lap time. So your race leader just laid down a 40.04, and Teft was able to lay down a 39.70. So he was actually 0.3 quicker that time.
Yeah, 98 definitely got a little bit more speed there than what the 15's got right now. Like I said, that those 5-lap pressure tires looking like they're coming into play. I mean, we see just a little bit of differing lines being run between the 15 and the 98. I mean, 98 kind of running his normal line there around the bottom, but it looks like Kinsley's kind of running like a half diamond, where he's entering high and really arcing it down to the bottom through the center, and then running it back up out on the exit.
And I can tell you, when you look at those two differing lines, you got Ecker and company back here, and they're actually starting to make up some ground on Teft that's in front of him right there. So, I think there was some kind of something happened there with Teft in that 43 or the 41 down there. I'm not sure what happened, but it definitely slowed the 98 up way back. Heavy damage for Andrew Teft. And he's actually going to be coming to pit road. I'm trying to see if I can find like a rewind. I want to be able to. Well, and that's not going to get me what I want. So we'll go back live, but that is troublesome.
I'm looking back at it now. Oh, it looks like the 41 was down on the apron, maybe just coming out of pit road, got a little bit loose or hit a bump, worked up onto the racetrack right in front of the 98. That was a big impact for Andrew Teft right there.
Yeah, there was a lot of front end damage on that for Andrew Teft. I want to see if I can't find. Yeah, I'm not seeing it in my info over here, so that sucks. I wish I could find it, but
other than doing a hard rewind on it.
Yeah, I would like to see it, but
as I say, it was just a miscue somehow on that 41, just running down there on the apron, then hit a bump, and it just shot him right up onto the racetrack in front of the 98.
So now,
nowhere for the 98.
So now, if you're the 98, you can see he's back on the racetrack. He took his fast repair. He knew he was going to have to. I mean, this race is probably going to run green. We're just over halfway. We've got a small field. It's going to probably go green, and unless the intensity picks up later. So now, you know, if you're Andrew, that couldn't have come at a worse time, right? Because a fuel mileage tells us that you can get to 70, call it 33 laps. That's going to put him about 4-ish laps shy on fuel. So
yeah, I mean, unless he's somehow able to save a little bit of fuel, I mean, you figure, yeah, he's going to be about 4 or 5 laps short, and I just don't know if you're able to save that much. I mean, that would be his only saving grace right now. I mean, he's down a lap. You know, he knows everybody else is going to have to come down one more time here, so he'll get the lap back, but he's definitely going to need some help otherwise, and this is going to be yet another detrimental race to his championship hopes.
Yeah, and when it rains, it seems like that it pours, Russ, and it's going to be another one of those situations where he had some trouble last week, and now you've got to overcome this situation this week. But a couple of guys that's made up some time on that 15, and they've been working together, drafting together, and they're about a second back is Ecker and Pindell.
Yeah, see a little bit of speed coming back out of Pindell now up there at P3. Trying to work with the 8. I mean, that's kind of what they need to do at this point. Them two guys need to hook up and work together and try to run Kensley down and get around Kensley. You know, with those older tires, I mean, right now would be the time to get up there and pounce. But seeing some more speed there out of the 94, it's good to see.
We are starting to see some speed out of the 94. I wonder, Russ, because I tend to do this when I'm racing, right, is I'll spend about the first, say, green flag cycle just learning, right? Learning what the car needs, how I need to drive it to be able to get the most out of it that I can possibly can. And I just wonder if that's what maybe Pindell was doing. We know at least he didn't seem like he showed a lot of speed earlier in the first green flag run that we had before green flag stops. But now he's been able to turn it on and been able to work with that 8 car. And they're only about 0.6 difference between them and race leader Kinsley Smith.
Yeah, I mean, and one of the things, you know, like I had mentioned earlier, you know, with a field this small, it makes it a little bit easier to be able to just kind of sit back, observe, learn what your car is doing, what you can do with it here, what you can do with it there, and be able to execute later on in the race without really giving up too much. So maybe that's what the 94 was doing earlier on, but now we see him up here trying to run with the 8, trying to get around the 8 here for P2. And now they're slowly, again, down to about a half a second behind the leader, Kinsley Smith.
So they are working on it. And I want to touch a little bit on Wayne Scott real quick, because we know he was the first one to come down pit road. And in fact, he did that at lap 22. And right now he's at 48. So he's ran about 26, call it 25, 26 laps in this cycle. We know that he can get probably 5 or 6, 7 laps more. That's going to put him in a position to run to the finish. So we talked about it You know, he was outside the top 5, did start on the pole, but he was outside the top 5, Russ, when he decided to pit. And in fact, he's found himself in 4th with an opportunity for one more stop.
Yeah, that's what I said earlier. You know, when he came down there at lap 22, it was really kind of confusing, you know, as to why he was coming that much earlier than what we had anticipated. Like I said, maybe it was just a little bit of a differing strategy. Short pit the first stop and run long on the second and third.
You can see the games are starting to play with the front 3 drivers. Kinsley Smith snaking them down the front straightaway, trying to get Ecker and Pendel out of that draft, but I don't think that's going to be possible because they're only a half second out and they're coming quickly.
Yeah, as long as they can just stay together. I mean, I don't think there's much that the 15 is going to be able to do to hold them off. I mean, if the 94 can get up there and start using that bumper to the 8, I mean, them guys are going to be able to run the 15 down even quicker than what they are now at about a half a tenth to a tenth a lap. So definitely need to work together and get up there and battle this 15 for the lead.
Yeah, and you're exactly spot on with your lap times, because that last time by Kinsley Smith laid down a 40 flat. Ecker lays down a 39.9, was a 10th quicker. So you're spot on with your times, and you can see those guys are still managing just less than a half second, but they're slowly picking at it. And within the next, say, probably 5-6 laps, they might be battling for the lead.
Yeah, and one other thing too that, you know, I mean, maybe Curtis and Chris need to think about too is, you know, Kinsley came down kind of early. Again, on that first pit stop, came down about maybe 2-3 laps earlier than what we anticipated. So, I mean, you know, they also got to anticipate that he's going to pit earlier than what they need to again. So, you know, ultimately, once he comes down pit road, these guys are going to be battling each other for the top spot before they have to come down pit road. So, I mean, maybe not try to really overdrive it, but you know, I mean, it's one of those things that drivers could be thinking about right now.
It very well could be one of those things they're thinking about, because in fact you are correct. Kinsley Smith was last on pit road at lap 27, and so if he was to do that again, that's going to put him, say, about lap 54. So I suspect that that's going to put his pit window open here in the next couple of laps. Now, Ecker and Pendel actually shaved a little bit more time that time, but the lap times, in fact, now have evened out between the front 3. So I'm beginning to wonder, with being that close to the back of the 15 with Ecker and Pendel, if the dirty air is really upsetting those cars and giving them a little bit more of a tighter feel.
Yeah, that was something I was just thinking about too. I mean, they've got it down to a half a second now. Maybe dirty air might have a little bit of a play. I mean, maybe that's why they're only getting about a half a tenth a lap now. You know, if it was more cars, it would be a little bit more dirty air than in just a single car. But you know, obviously it's something, because they've kind of beaten themselves out now.
So Wayne Scott has hit pit road, so we knew his pit window was open. We knew that, and in fact, he should be able to make it to the end here, as there's only going to be about 28 laps to go. And so that battle out front has mellowed out. Smith has kind of weathered that little bit of charge between Ecker and Pendel. Now Pendel, he's going to hit pit road. You can see there he is. So now you're in crunch time, right? It becomes the money stop, getting on off pit road and positioning yourself to win this thing here in the next, say, 6 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every single one of these drivers is within the window right now. I mean, under 30 laps to go, closing out on 25. So one more stop and you can make it, regardless of who you are on the track. So right now, it's like you said, you know, getting onto pit road, making this money stop the stop that counts, making sure you get on, get off quick, don't get any black flags, and we're gonna see this thing through to the end.
And here comes the 15, your race leader, and Kinsley Smith. He's now come to pit road. Ecker just right behind him. That's going to turn race lead over to Alex Teff. Now we know Alex was one of the longest running. In fact, he was the longest running car that stayed out the first pit cycle at lap 32 is when he last pitted. And so we know he will probably be able to run a few extra laps, but then you're going to give up some track time if these guys are actually able to start linking up. So you got Pendel, you got Wayne Scott, you got Alex Gates. Andrew's now trying to get into the mix. You know, I don't know if he's going to be able to make it plumb to the finish here. He's going to need a caution, if anything, So I think if you're Alex, you're going to lose a lot of time with these guys back here drafting together.
Yeah, I mean, that if anything told us, or if we learned anything from that first round of pit stops, I mean, the pitting later on, like what Alex did there, it didn't really benefit him in the long run. And now that we're, 25 to go here, I just don't think there's, enough benefit to staying out and pitting that much later. On the other side there with Andrew, I mean, he had that incident there, had to come down, got that fast repair done, just kind of outside that window of being able to make it. But I mean, I know Andrew has made very impressive fuel runs in the past. So I mean, not sure if he's going to be able to make one here tonight, but I wouldn't put it past him to maybe try.
So I'm going to take a look here, and one of the guys that has struggled with pit road, in fact, struggled with pit road again, and that's going to be last week's race winner. You can see he was second when the green flag cycle started. He's now fallen back to eighth as most of these cycles have played out. Now, again, he'll move up to, he's up to seventh, and we know that Alex Teff still has to pit, but when you look at where he is position-wise on the racetrack versus Kinsley Smith and Christopher Pendel, he lost a ton of time down pit road.
Yeah, not sure what happened there, but definitely something happened. Don't know if he maybe slid through his box or, I mean, sliding through your box can cost you 3 or 4 seconds on pit road. So, I mean, it could have just been something as simple as sliding through the box. I mean, like I said, that's why they call that the money stop. Last stop of the race under green flag. You can't have any kind of problems. And apparently the 8 car there, Curtis Ecker, had some kind of an issue on pit road right there.
So once Alex decides to pit, that's going to turn race lead over to what we're going to guess is going to be Kinsley Smith, Christopher Pendel, and Kirby Wainscott. And you can see they're all right there together. In fact, they've all been able to unlap themselves, albeit the race leader is just directly behind them. But that will turn race lead over to them, because we do know with this pit road, you do lose a lap. So, in fact, Alex Teft has lost a ton of track time.
Yeah, I mean, these guys got by, and they're just kind of starting to check out now. I mean, for what's going to be the battle for this win here between the 15, the 94, and the 10 here. So, see how these guys just continue to run as this thing winds down, closing in on 22 to go. Coming to 21.
So Andrew has decided to bring his machine back down pit road, so he's going to save everything that he can, and he's down and away. Alex Teff stays out on the racetrack again, so we know that he could probably run 1 or 2 more laps. We'll probably see him this time by. That'll be with 20 to go. The battle for the race win is going to be right here. Kinsley Smith looking really, really good as he holds about a half second over top of Christopher Pendel, and then nearly a second over top of Kirby Wainscott.
Yeah, I mean, right now too, looking at this lineup with the way that the points is lining up, really, I think the 94 just kind of needs to focus on running this thing to the end right where he's at, and trying not to push the issue too much. I mean, I know as a driver, you want to chase that leader down and pick up the win. But you take a look, Curtis Ecker having that trouble on pit road, currently running P6. Andrew having his problems. Alex Gates back, in P5. Right now is the situation for Chris where he can gain and maximize the points that he gets through this race to increase his points lead going into that final race next week at Pocono.
Yeah, because right now we know the battle is really tight between him and Curtis Ecker. And right now, Ecker finds himself running in 6th. He'll move up inside the top 5 once race leader Alex Teff does come down pit road. So there's going to be, a couple of spots between them where some points will be able to be made up. But that doesn't necessarily mean that Ecker would be out of this thing. The last thing that Ecker would want to see is that 94 find victory lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's 3 extra bonus points for picking up the win. So, I mean, right now, like I said, Chris, I think that's where Chris's focus needs to be is where is Curtis Ecker on track. Now, as I say that, we see him go for the shoot to the inside, try to battle for this lead from Kinsley Smith, and it looks like he's going to get him cleared on corner entry.
Yeah, he was going to be able to clear him. Now, Inslee's going to try a crossover, but I don't know if you noticed, Russ, or not, but the last time they exited turn 4 one lap ago, the 15 actually got up into the wall on the exit, and it's like he kind of overdrove it in a kind of maybe a tight situation with the car, but he kind of overdrove it and got really into the wall there and lost a ton of momentum. As you can see, there comes the 94 back after running the top. This is quite the battle we have for the lead.
Yeah, I was saying this is what, I mean, the 94, I mean, he wants to win this race, but he also does not want to get wrecked by making some kind of a mistake here, not quite being clear of the 15, aggravating the 15 to spin him out. I mean, he wants to make sure he finishes in front of Curtis Ecker one way or the other, whether it's P1 or P2, to try to gain points on him going into that race next week at Pocono. So right now, I mean, as it stands, even if Chris was to finish in second and Curtis in fifth, that's 3 additional points that he's going to gain going into next week's race at Pocono. Going to put him at a 6-point lead. And if we get a field the size of what we have tonight next week, 6 points is going to be very, very difficult to make up for Curtis Ecker. So that's one thing that Chris Pendel needs to keep in his mind right now too, is, you know, just make sure that you're not going to put yourself into a position that jeopardizes those points here today. But right now, finally getting clear of the 15, finds himself out in the lead, looking for the win here, 17 to go.
With 17 laps to go, the 94 has positioned himself out front with a chance to win this race, but this has allowed Kirby Wainscott to actually close in just a little bit on these drivers. And what Wainscott needs to happen is for the 15 to get back up there and really start to battle that 94 again and get the racing side by side. In fact, there you can see the 15 of Smith will actually, I don't think he's going to be able to clear it here. He's not, but what a shot into the corner did the 15 take right there.
Yeah, he just sailed that thing right off there into turn 1 and was hoping that he could get the slide job done, but not quite able to get it done. Settles back into P2 here. As now they see these guys trying to get around this lap car, the 7-11 of Trevor Fettig.
Yeah, and because of that, you can see Wainscott is just right there. I mean, he can see them, and he's probably thinking, what more do I have to do to be able to get this to happen? And you can see the 94 trying to get a little bit of arrow shove off of the lap car there at the bottom. In fact, he's going to move up and block the run off of Smith. He's going to pull a couple car lengths as they exit turn 2.
Yeah, like you said, you know, the Kirby back there, like, what do I got to do? Well, you know, I think he was maybe kind of hoping that the 7-11 would kind of somehow hold these guys up. But I mean, now the 10 car finds himself right there in the draft and closing in on the bumper of the 15 here, putting himself right back in the mix to try to go after this win.
Yeah, he's starting to make up a little bit of gap between those two cars, at least with the front leaders. He's only about 3-4 tenths back. And right now, Ecker has actually gotten around a couple of these guys and has moved himself in the 4th. But what's going to play dividend now, as you can see, Alex Teft with really fresh tires, a lot fresher than anybody else on the racetrack by about 10 or 11 laps. And really, he's only, 3 seconds is not difficult to make up as long as he has some drafting help.
Yeah, I mean, he could play spoiler again. I mean, we've seen him do that, you know, throughout the season a couple times, and you know, play a little bit of spoiler. I mean, this could work out in his favor if he can take those fresh tires and make the best use of them that he can. Maybe put himself back up there at the front. But I mean, I think these laps are kind of winding down. I mean, he's running 4th right now, like you said, about 3 seconds back from P3. Almost, well, it looks like 2.8 now. But I'm just not sure that he's going to have quite enough time to be able to run these top 3 guys back down.
Well, you say that, and I'm sitting here and I'm doing the math in my head, and right now he's about 4 tenths faster a lap. So provided that he can make up in 3 laps a little over a second. So he would only need about 8 to 10 laps to do it, and there's 12 laps to go. But he's going to have to average that lap time, right? He's going to have to. So last time by 39.45, race leader 39.80. So he's still 3.5, 4 tenths quicker. So it could be done, but it's going to be difficult if he does it.
Yeah, I mean, right now there's that big gap, and that's the only thing that's kind of hurting him. I mean, he's turning those faster laps, but I mean, having that big gap, you don't really have that draft of them guys, those 4 cars there in front of you, trying, to pull you in, and really that's what you need. So, I mean, really, Alex really should be on the radio to his brother and say, get up here and push me to get me into, to get us into the draft of those front 4 cars, because I just don't know. I mean, maybe turn on those faster lap times, but until he can catch that draft, I'm just not sure how quickly he can get there.
Yeah, another 3/10. I mean, he should be able to get with under 2 seconds this time by, and if he's able to, he's going to have a shot. But right now, Pendle's got about a 4/10 of a second lead out in front of Smith. So that battle's kind of worn off just a little bit. Wayne Scott has lost since about 3/10, and he's pushing a little over 6, almost 7/10 behind race leader. But that gap is actually starting to close quite a bit. It's down to about 2 1/10.
I'm watching that. I mean, he's getting himself slowly to the very edge of that draft. I mean, the thing, if he can catch that draft and get himself back up there, he may have a shot at it here with 10 to go. But he's also, once he gets up there, he's going to be fighting a little bit of dirty air from those 4 cars too. So, like I said, again, I don't know right now. I mean, the 94 looks like he's starting to gap out from the 15 just a little bit, up to about 4/10 now. So it looks like the 94 is slowly starting to settle in.
He is starting to settle in. That lead is right steady, exactly where it is. Again, that's going to be another 2.5, 3/10. Now, we do suspect that these tires for Alex Teft is probably going to level out, I would venture to say, because earlier in the night, we seen Andrew kind of level out when he was running up in the top 2, 3 positions, and he was running down race leader. And in fact, he was ticking off the time quite a bit, but the tires had kind of mellowed out. And I think that's what we're going to see, or start to see, out of the 43s. He's now moved to the top.
Yeah, moving up there. I mean, like you said, you give it about 7 or 8 laps, these tires are going to kind of equal themselves out. I mean, he's slowly catching. I think he's slowly getting into that draft from that 7-11 up there. So, I mean, he's kind of closing it in there now.
He is starting to close in. He was in about a 1.5 seconds. He had a kind of a real bad entry and a bad center exit through that corner, and he was actually lost a little bit of time, but he still, even last lap by, he was about 3/10 quicker than the 3 cars in front of him. So if he's going to do it, he's going to have to perfect the next 7 laps, because we're going to be coming to 7 laps to go, as race leader Christopher Bendel is still showing the way by about 4 to 5/10.
Yeah, Chris just kind of, like I said, settling in, keeping that gap right around that 4/10. I mean, like I said, the 43 is coming. I mean, 7 laps to go, but I think once he catches these 4, he's gonna be up in that dirty air, and it's gonna bog him down just a little bit. So, I mean, 43 definitely gaining about a 1.5 now, but 94. Yeah, just kind of settling in and looking to pick up those 3 extra bonus points for picking up a win and put me tied with you for picks.
Yeah, we will be tied if the 94 is able to hang on, and then we'll have that tiebreaker next week by chance. But I'm looking at lap times, though, Russ, and lap times have mellowed out for the 43. So I think it's going to be difficult from here on out. I think that he needed to stay running the bottom and not necessarily move to the top, I think would have been maybe the call. He was making up quite a bit of time running the bottom, and he just isn't making up the lap times that he was. He's still a little bit quicker. In fact, he was still 2/10 quicker that last time, but now where we are with the amount of laps left, he's going to be out of time, I believe.
Yeah, he's going to try to grab that draft there, the 7-11, try to help slingshot himself around them. But, I mean, right now he's got to try to catch into the draft of Kirby Wainscott up there in P3 and hope he can pull him in. But, now we're 5 laps to go, and clock is ticking for the 43 here.
Race leader Christopher Pendle, once he got around Kinsley Smith, there's been no looking back, and in fact that lead just keeps on growing. What was once 2/10 became 3/10, turned into 5.5, almost 6/10 of a lead right now with 5 laps to go. Your pick, Russ, is looking pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, just kind of settling in there at the top. I mean, he knows that he's going to keep getting those good runs off the corner, and that's the biggest thing. Is like, if you can get yourself settled into a comfortable line and start stretching this thing out, it just makes it all that much easier. And right now, up to 6/10 with 4 to go.
So 6/10 is going to be the lead with 4 laps to go for Christopher Pendel, our current points leader. You can see the 43 has gotten to the back bumper of the 10 car. He's going to have to make quick work of these guys, as now that race lead is only a mere second, and with 3 laps, what will be 3 laps to go, time is running out.
Yeah, he's going to have to maximize the draft here and try to make some quick work of Kirby and Kensley if he wants to have a shot at trying to run down the 94. Coming down here to 3 to go, I mean, he's going to have to do it. He's going to have to do it quick.
We know he finished second 3 races in a low last week. He's right there. He can see Wayne Scott. He can see Smith. He's going to have to make quick work, but it's possible he could finish second again. As you can see, he's peeking to the inside. He's not going to be able to generate nothing there, but he is there with 3 laps to go.
Yeah, he's got up to the back bumper there, the 10. With the 15, you know, the 94 stretching it out again just a little bit, still about 6/10, but you know, the 43 is right there, but he's going to have to try to do something here and make some moves. 10 kind of doing a little bit of a block. 43 not able to get a decent run on him. That's going to hold him up now. 2 to go.
2 laps to go for race leader Christopher Pendel. You can see it right there. Just had a really solid, clean night, has the 94. The battle for position, though, rages on back here. It's going to be amongst these 3 drivers. Playoff driver Wayne Scott, Alex Teff, you know, is not. Smith is not. So, you know, if you're Wayne Scott, you really want to try to get past Smith and get another point if you can.
Yeah, like I said, you know, points matter. I mean, especially in this kind of a playoff format. But right now, the 43 trying to look to the inside of the 10 there, not able to quite get it done. Now we're got the white flag. 1 to go.
1 to go here in the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series on Thursday night, right here on the Racers Elite Network. Christopher Pendel, he's got out front, Russ, and he's not looked back.
Yeah, I mean, all season long, Chris has shown speed. You know, I mean, he's the winningest driver in this series this year. He's had 3 wins in the regular season. Coming in here to Auto Club, I mean, like I said, I knew that his driving style suits tracks like these. That's why I went with him here tonight. And now coming out of turn 4, going to pick up the win here at Auto Club tonight and add a little bit more points to his bid for a championship here in the Racers Elite Cup Series. Christopher Pendel wins it from Auto Club.
He will win it from Auto Club, and Wayne Scott actually edged out Kinsley Smith for second. So what a great job by him. Will Wayne Scott end up in the second position? Kinsley Smith third, Alex Teff fourth, Alex Gate fifth, Truth Hoke sixth, Andrew Teff seventh, Trevor Fettig eighth, Curtis Ecker will end in the 9th position. I'm not sure what happened to Curtis for him to end up back there in the 9th position, but that's where we have him. And Dennis Kane rounds out the top 10.
Yeah, I think I think it was somewhere like around 10 laps to go or so. I saw Curtis come back down pit road. Not sure what happened, what caused that, but you know, I mean, it definitely allowed Chris, by picking up this win here tonight, to maximize the points that he's going to gain with you know, in this points lead. And I mean, I think these guys are, I mean, aside from something absolutely detrimental happening next week at Pocono, I think it's going to be really hard for any of these guys now to catch Chris in the points.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult, and it's going to make it for an interesting week, especially at Pocono. But you can see there's the final results on screen as our race winner is burning them down. And you know he's going to be excited, especially with this one heading into next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anytime he wins, he's ecstatic in the booth. So looking forward to getting him into the waiting room so we can get him up here and talk to him.
Well, let's start with our third place driver, Russ, and I'll let you interview him if you want to. I'll see if I can find him. And in fact, I have found him. So there he comes. Kinsley, it's Brandon and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man. You know, strong car air all night. Looked like maybe just a little bit of fall off there at the end. Take us back through your race and tell us what you were seeing out there tonight.
I mean, the car felt good. It was real stable. Longer you got in the run, the tighter it got. So the bottom kind of became a no factor. about halfway through the runs. So you can't really hold the bottom anymore without washing up too much and hitting the wall. And I hit the wall one time on that last run, and that allowed Christopher to get a good run on me and got underneath me. Just wasn't able to get it back from there. Too tight in his wake, and just couldn't keep it off the wall.
Yeah, we kind of noticed that, during the pre-race we were talking, normally that the bottom line is one of those kind of dominant lines for some reason in iRacing, but since this last update, it's kind of made each of these tracks a little bit more racy in different lines. So, I mean, we were talking about that earlier in the night where, normally the bottom is that predominant line, but we definitely could see, racing in the middle, second, third, maybe even the fourth lane there. And that's exactly what we saw. How quick did you decide that you wanted to move from the bottom to the top?
I already knew going into it that eventually everything was going to push up to the top, just as the tires wore and everything. It's usually how Auto Club has been. During the day, it's a little bit different because your tires wear a little bit harder, so it's not really a benefit to be at the top. But yeah, so me and Kirby ran a race in another league earlier this week. I think it was Monday, so we kind of already had a game plan coming into this, knowing that everything was going to migrate to the top. So I just had to choose on when my tires got too worn and when I started pushing too much to the wall, and just let it go from there.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those tracks. I mean, like you said, it being the night, that transition a little bit more prudent than the day. I mean, it kind of is slicker during the day when you're running in the afternoon races and stuff like that. Being in California, this track gets super hot, but man, I mean, like I said, you had that speed all night long. You led, I think you led the most laps here tonight. So strong run. I know it's probably not the finish that you wanted, but congrats on the P3, and we'll turn it over to you and let you give out any shout outs that you
got. Thank you. Of course, everybody in the league. We're running good races right now. Not many cautions, so that's a good job to everybody and a testament to everybody in this league. And then of course my wife and my daughter, they love watching these. And I usually go in and watch them with them afterwards, so they might be a little happy about this one, seeing me out in front majority of the time. And then, of course, you guys in the booth, you did a fantastic job as always, and Andrew for all the work he puts in doing these leagues.
Well, man, for sure. Look forward to seeing you next week, Pocono Championship race. What do you think going into that race next week?
I usually do pretty good at Pocono, so I'm kind of hoping for a good finish there.
Well, man, hopefully we get a chance to talk to you again there next week after the race there at Pocono.
Thank you.
Thanks, bud.
And that will be our third place finisher. And what an amazing job. He always brings those DEI looking paint schemes to the racetrack. And we know he's always a front runner at the plate style tracks. And again, here tonight, not necessarily a plate track, but is very draft dependent. And we know he always runs well there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, another strong run by him here tonight. I mean, he's usually always one of the ones that is a threat at tracks like these. So, I mean, P3 is solid run again for him here tonight.
Let's see if we can bring in our second place finisher, Kirby. It's Brandon and Russ up in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, man, I need you to know that I took you as my race pick to win this thing tonight, and you came up one spot short, but you was actually able to edge out Smith there for second right at the line. You started on the front row, and you pitted early, about 22 laps in. And which we thought was early, but then we kind of figured out your strategy somewhat. So take us through your night and how you was able to park your number 10 here in second place at Auto Club.
It's funny you mentioned somebody picking me to win the race, because I said as we gridded, I told my teammates in the team chat, I'm like, if somebody picks me to win this race, I'm going to be upset, because that means something crazy is going to happen to me.
Well, I'm sorry.
And And going in, well, it was completely my fault. I blew turn 1, hit the wall. This is the very first lap. Hit the wall coming out of 2, had wheel damage and front end damage, like 10 seconds into the race. So that whole first run, I have wheel damage, and I'm just trying to hold on for. So that's why I pitted early. I was planning on pitting as soon as my fuel window opened up, but I was kind of sticking around with. As long as I was in the draft, you were all right. So I was sticking around. That's why I came in early. Like I was planning on doing 27-27 and then finishing the rest of the way that way. But me being an idiot and smacking the wall in the first turn kind of forced my hand to pit early.
Yeah, so even with that, I mean, I noticed you had gotten into the wall, but I didn't think that there was going to be that much damage. I mean, it didn't seem to me that it was that hard of a hit, but you was actually able to manage there. But the cycle, the strategy was able to work out, right? You was actually able to run a little bit longer that second time, and then I was able to give yourself, pretty decent tires to get to the finish and race it out with with Smith there at the end for second.
Yeah, I mean, I had a few things go my way. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked to see exactly what happened to Andrew, but the contact he made kind of got him behind, took him out of the race, and then I was kind of surprised that I was able to kind of stick with everybody there. I was able to come in. I ran my second run as long as I could, just so I wasn't at a huge tire disadvantage. So yeah, I mean, after blowing turn 1 and having wheel damage 10 seconds into the race, I'm pretty happy coming back with P2.
Now next week we're heading to Pocono, right? And we know that you've been in playoff contention throughout this run, or at least by the windshield banner, it shows that you're one of them. And so heading into Pocono, finishing second tonight, you should be able to gain a few points. What do you need to do next week to try to position yourself to maybe jump Pendel, or at least make up some points to get inside, the top 3 to finish the season?
Yeah, I'm really disappointed with Daytona. I had the lead on the last lap with my teammate behind me, and I'm not sure what happened on that final turn, but I just lost it. So instead of finishing maybe at worst 4th, I finished like 15th or something. So that cost me a bunch of points. I think I was 18 down coming in tonight, so I could have been within single digits, but yeah. But Pocono, not my favorite track. I am not typically not very good at like the flat tracks, like Pocono, New Hampshire, tracks like that, but I'll go out there. I'll give it my all. I'll see what happens. I mean, I think Chris pretty much wrapped it up tonight, but I will try whatever I can do to get in that top 3.
Well, brother, I'm certain that you have some friends, family, even some sponsors you'd like to give some shout outs to, man. So shout them out. And I promise you, before you do that, I'll keep it for you. I won't pick you next week so you don't have any trouble.
Well, heck yeah. I mean, if you don't pick me, maybe I won't blow turn 1, but nah, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I just want to thank all my friends and family. And thank you guys in the booth. You guys, I had mentioned this to Andrew. I think you guys do a great job. I love watching the broadcast back, and I love hearing your all's insights and your analysis on the race. It's top notch, and got to thank Andrew. I mean, the job he does managing all of our egos and personalities, he does a great job, man. And I want to thank Kinsley. I mean, sorry, Kinsley, for passing you there on that final turn, but you make one heck of a car. He is the one that designed the car I'm driving in, so want to give him a huge shout out, KS Designs. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm going to stop talking.
All right, brother. Well, we'll see you next week when we roll into Pocono for the final race of the season.
Yep. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I tell you, Russ, that makes me feel good. I hate the fact that I picked him and then he said he blew to turn 1, but he likes what we do in the booth nonetheless.
Yeah, I mean that's one good. One of the things that it's always nice to hear. I myself, I don't think I do good up here, so for to hear that people actually enjoy what we do, it's definitely a compliment, and we very much appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. So are you ready to talk to your pick?
I'm ready, brother. Let's get him in here.
Let's get him in here. Christopher, it's Brandon and Russ in the booth. You got a copy?
How y'all doing this evening?
Well, man, I know I'm doing pretty good because I don't know if you watch our pre-race or not, but I picked you to win this race here tonight, and you got it done for me. You got it done for me here tonight, and tied me up with Brandon in our picks for the season. So we're now tied going into the race next week in Pocono. So thank you for that, sir.
You're welcome. Hey, isn't this the first time you've picked me all season, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah. John's picked you. But yeah, I mean, I think this might be the first time that I picked you. But I know, I've watched you on tracks like this, and I know the success that you've had at tracks like this. So that's why I was like, I'm going with Christopher Pindale tonight in that 94 car to get the win.
I honestly didn't think I had race winning speed. Also, I was just the first part of the race. I was just kind of cruising around, seeing what line I could do, and somehow it worked out. I mean, I'll take it. I'm never going to shy away from a win. It sucks that, Andrew had his bad luck, Curtis had his bad luck. That'd have been interesting to see what happened there at the end because they was both pretty fast. But I'll take it. A win's a win, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and we kind of talked about that. That little bit of a first run there. We saw you kind of drift back, and and I even said, I said, maybe he's just kind of getting a feel for everything, seeing what his car will do in certain positions to where, he'll be able to know what he can do at the end of, at the end of the race to try to pick up this win. And that's exactly what it looked like it happened. You kind of fell back. You were searching top, searching bottom, searching middle. I mean, I saw you trying the middle too. And then there at the end, able to kind of jump up there on the high side, get up to guys, be able to sail that thing off into the corner on the bottom, pull some slide jobs, got yourself, they had a little bit of a battle there with Kensley trying to get that lead, but once you got the lead, finally you were able to kind of settle in and just kind of check out. So, I mean, other than that, I mean, take us back through this whole race as to what your thoughts were as far as this championship goes, because now I've just seen the updated points.
Yep.
And I think that you have wrapped this thing up here tonight. You're up 16 points now over Curtis Ecker. So, I mean, I think you kind of wrapped it up given the field size here tonight. If we see that same field size next week, there's no way anybody's going to kind of touch you. So, what was your mindset as this championship, or as far as the championship goes coming into tonight?
Well, tonight I told Truth because, I'm in Misfit team with him. I told him, I said, I'm just going to ride around, see how the race plays out, try to have a good finish, don't speed on pit road, don't make mistakes. And that's pretty much what I did. I just wanted to be clean, be patient. I knew there was guys faster than me tonight. Like I said, Andrew was fast, Kinsley was fast, Curtis was fast. Everybody was fast tonight. And I was just like the first part of the run, I was just playing out and see how my car was doing. I wanted to run the bottom so bad the whole race just to save tire. But, here the draft is so important, and it don't matter if you're running the bottom, you get beside somebody. The draft, if they're on their outside, the draft is going to pull them, and they're going to go by you every time. So I kind of had to learn, like, hey, can I run the top? How close can I get to how far can I run up the top without touching the wall? How close can I get to the wall? Can I dime it down to the middle? Can I run the middle, get a good exit off? And then also pit strategy too. That last sequence there, I was third or fourth, I think. And then I pitted early and I jumped up to like second. Kinsley beat me out pit road because he pitted a few laps after me. And I thought it was over there. I thought my Kinsley was one of the faster cars all night, and he was doing a good job holding people off. And I'm like, oh well, I'll run second, third. If Kirby passed me a third, I'll take that. I led a lap early in the race, and he hit the wall coming off four. I was able to suck up to him, and he hit the wall coming off four, and I was able to get a run on him and get to the bottom. And that I was able to pass him. Once I cleared him, I just stayed committed to the top because it was so hard to pass on the bottom. If you got a good line on the top, and you had a good exit off the top, it was just going to be so hard to pass. So that's what I did. And I just was trying to be patient, and I'm like, well, no, hope there's no cautions come out. Hope there's no cautions come out. I hope everybody stays green, and it did. And I was able to pick up the win, and it's awesome. Anytime you win, it's a great feeling.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, no doubt. I mean, like I said, kind of, and I think I've said it a couple times. Going back and looking at last season and where you are now versus where you were then. You've easily got to be one of the top two drivers, as far as improvement goes. Between you and Curtis, I think from last season. But now, I mean, you're going for a championship next week, going into Pocono. Like I said, I'm pretty sure you got the thing wrapped up already, being 16 points ahead of Curtis going into Pocono next week. What's your thoughts looking forward into that championship race next week at Pocono?
Well, if hopefully we have a good turnout for the last race of the season. I know getting towards the end of the season, a lot of guys don't want to race, especially throughout the playoffs, but hopefully we get a lot of guys out to get, to have a good field and good spot, and heck, especially for you guys broadcasting. I'm actually just same thing I'm gonna do tonight. Just be patient, stay, let the racetrack come, the car come to me, and do my best to help out my misfit teammates. I know Truth's real good at Pocono, really good no matter what car he's in. So I'm hoping he can come out there and get the dub for the team, or Troy, But he's at a concert tonight, by the way. That's why he didn't show up. So, yeah, I'm just going to go out there and run my race next week and be patient, try to stay out of everybody's way, and hopefully have a decent finish to where I can finally win this thing. I mean, and I appreciate the words, as far as you saying I've improved. I really appreciate that. I have, and I'll be the first one to admit I sucked in the next gen cars the last couple seasons, and I've had a couple guys give me some advice on how to run these cars, and they know who they are, and if they're watching, thank you. It's really changed my game on iRacing as far as these cars run, and man, I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully I can get Misfits a team championship trophy, and get me a championship trophy. That'd be awesome.
Oh man, like I said, you 16 points up. You leaps and bounds over where you were last year. I mean, you're the winningest driver in the series. This year you had 3 wins in the regular season. You just picked up your 4th win of the season tonight. Going into next week, man, I wish you the best of luck. Go get that championship. And hopefully we get to talk to you as our champion next week.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. I'm going to have to go get me some Miller Lite just in case I can wrap it up.
There you go.
Russ, that will be our race winner in Christopher Pendell. And I tell you, the most winningest driver we've had this season, now 4, pretty much has locked up the championship heading into next week. But I'm taking a look at the rest of the battle because there's still plenty of spots to be gained. When I look at 2nd to, say, 6th area, they're all separated just by about a handful of points, really, between them. So, yeah, I think next week's going to be a lot of fun. We'll see who's able to, if they can, make up any ground on him, but he's pretty much all but got it locked.
Yeah, I mean, aside from having a field of 30-plus drivers next week, I think it's going to be really hard, for anybody to catch him, even, a field of 20 cars, it would kind of be tough. So I think, like I said, I think he has this championship locked up, and, the kind of season that he's had is definitely well-deserved. Like I said, between him and Curtis Ecker, probably the 2 most improved guys that I've seen come out of last season. I would probably give my vote to Chris as far as the most improved driver between last season and this season. Just behind, just beside the fact of the wins, he's kind of calmed himself down. He's learned how to really drive his car. Had some times last season just kind of erratic, and then had some bad luck at times. But I mean, he's just leaps and bounds above where he was last year. So definitely deserving of this championship next week at Pocono. But like you said, I mean, from Curtis Ecker in P2, 16 points back to Kirby even back there in P5. I mean, that's only 7 points. So I mean, there could definitely be a shakeup from 2nd to 5th, maybe even 6th. So yeah, I mean, next week at Pocono, it's going to be a battle for those guys for podiums in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to want to finish as high as you possibly can for yourself and your team when we head into next week at Pocono. Final thoughts on tonight, though?
Oh man, it was fun. I mean, even though there was a little bit of a lack of a field out there, I mean, the guys were able to put on some decent battles as the race progressed, and I think we'll see some of the same there next week at Pocono. I mean, it's a 2.5 mile track. It's going to run a lot different than what they did here tonight. With that, the what turn 4, the tricky triangle. So I'm really excited to get in there next week and see what these guys have to do for the championship race and crown ourselves a champion here at the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series.
Next week, we will be bringing you all the action right here on the Racers Elite Network, where we will crown officially our season champion of the Next Gen Series here in Racers Elite. And for my partner, Russ, up in the booth, I'm Brandon, and we will see you all next week when the Racers Elite Next Gen Cup Series try to tackle the tricky triangle at Pocono. We'll see everybody next week.